afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 11th episode of Melly
and Shally.
So Shally is back with us. For those of you who watched last week or 2 weeks ago's episode number 10, Tim Barney, or as we call him, Bunny, was standing in for Shally. It was a lot of fun, so we really have to do that swap again, or maybe next time
definitely.
It will be Bunny and Shally, or whatever the case might be. So always a lot of fun, and today we're quite excited. Tomorrow is Heritage Day, but also at the same time, we have been able to launch the Bakkie Series, a brand new Liqui Moly Bakkie Additive Series on Monday. And it's been quite an overwhelming amount of people that have been inundating us with questions: where to buy, how is it different? So we're quite excited to unpack it today.
Yes, so it's such an amazing range, Mel, and I think it's quite unique to SA. It's not something anyone else has to offer. So I'm really looking forward to the session, and just to simplify things for people to understand why you should be using this.
So we've received that. So this is what the brand new Liqui Moly Bakkie Series actually looks like. So in comparison to our very old, well-known super diesel additive, it's a much smaller can. So this is bulky and huge, like the Bucky normally is. So people want to know, when will I use the Bakkie additive? What makes it different? So we're going to cover all of those couple of things today. So let's start with Bakkie. I mean, we have a range in the United States called the Liqui Moly Truck Series. And the Truck Series is something that for us, if anybody says a truck, we see this big 18-wheeler taking logistically things from one point to the next, or dumping coal or something like that. That is not the way they see it in the United States. The big Dodge Rams and those are seen or mentioned or called trucks. So Liqui Moly USA, this range is called Liqui Moly Truck. And we thought, okay, if we're going to call it truck, it's not going to make sense to anybody in South Africa, because we know them as Bakkies. Yeah. So if I go to Germany and I talk about a Bakkie, the first thing that they bring along for me is a bit like this, because this is as far as a Bakkie sounds like it should be. It's a little piece of Tupperware, which is then confusing for me, but clearly not for them. So in other parts of the world, they also call it a pickup. So we're very unique. We coined a name, and you'll see it on our brand new ad. We call it a Bakkie. I don't know where it started from, but it is such a loved vehicle. I mean, it's something that you can drive over pavements, you can drive over people, you can pack everything at the back, you have your bicycle, it's easy to fit in, you sit much higher than anything else. I mean, I think our country really, really loves their Bakkies.
Yeah, I think the culture started with the actual off-road experience, the ultimate off-road experience, if I can say that. Because a lot of guys love their Bakkies, like you mentioned. They use it for so many things. And it's quite fascinating nowadays to see technology, because his lift suspension has got a lift suspension. So where's it going to end, I'm not sure. But I'm glad we have a range to contribute towards that. So yeah, awesome stuff.
So it doesn't matter what kind of Bakkie you have, what kind of brand, how big, how many conversions, the big size of tires, the size of the tank, what you use it for. Our Bakkie range is for all kinds of Bakkies, not except Tupperware. Yeah. But let's cover and go into detail of how they are different and what makes them special. So we're going to start with the 3 different additives. So just to be able to give you an idea, so we have the new truck, hopefully you can see it closely, the new truck diesel additive. Then we have the new truck Bakkie oil additive, one of those bloopers I want to remove. And then we have our Petrol Bakkie additive. Very unique to South Africa and available since Monday in all our partners and all our stores and online. So let's unpack them. Let's find out, why would I use the diesel additive, the truck Bakkie additive, instead of the super diesel additive? So, Shally, you want to start with the petrol side?
Yes, let's start with the petrol side. It's simple to understand, because most of the vehicles we have in SA actually uses gasoline. Petrol is gasoline in Europe. Right, so this is our injection cleaner. Very well-known product in the market itself for us, and does really amazing. So this product was developed mostly as a maintenance product. How it uses is you put it in your fuel tank in order to ensure that the fuel system is being cleaned. There are so much properties and performance benefits that goes with this product, such as your cetane improvers, the lubricity of the fuel, there's the actual starting behavior of the vehicle itself, as well as the fuel quality.
Cetane or octane?
Octane? Octane. Cetane diesel? Octane. Right, so the octane is increased with this product. So quickly want to touch on that, what is octane itself? I know there's a lot of guys asking a question. So octane is generally the anti-knocking agent. So it's a rating of fuel, of petrol itself, that identifies the anti-knocking agent within the fuel itself. So I know you're going to ask what is knocking.
Okay.
This is almost on. So knocking is just a process that happens. So you know, in petrol engines, we actually have a spark to ignite the fuel. But what happens is, due to compression, the fuel starts igniting itself, and that is seen as knocking. So that can cause a lot of damage in the engine. So if you go to a pump gas station, you'll generally see the 93 or 95 octane, and that is an indication of what is the quality of the knocking agent inside that fuel.
So can you also make it easy to say the higher the octane amount, the better the quality of fuel?
Yes.
Because the performance of the car is going to be better.
Yes, there's a direct correlation between them.
Okay, so the fuel injection cleaner is used to be able to increase the octane, the quality of the fuel, clean the engine, protect it. Also, make sure that it lowers the CO2 in emissions,
Yes.
which is then a direct link to your fuel consumption. So if your fuel consumption goes down, the CO2 in your emissions go down automatically as well. So now this product is enough for how many liters of
That's up to 50 liters of your gas tank. So that is generally your small vehicles that we have in SA market. Anything from your Mazdas to maybe up to a little small 3-4 seater vehicle self. But sorry, you want to say?
So when will I then use the Bakkie additive? Only when I have a Bakkie?
No. So the Bakkie additive is the range of the Bakkie, but the Bakkie additive is more concentrated. So this product, the concentration of it is greater. So it's got 150 liters of fuel that it covers. As you can see, also it's not just the packaging, but also the concentration of the product inside. And like I mentioned, this actually increases your octane by 4 points. So having 93 octane, you'll inevitably have a 97 octane quality of fuel going into your fuel system and through the injectors to ensure better combustion, better performance, and less troublesome problems.
Okay, so easy for me if I know nothing about what's going on fuel and what's knocking, because this is the only knocking I know. So for me, the easiest way to be able to establish when I'm going to use the Bakkie additive or when I'm going to use the fuel injection cleaner is
The color coding indication.
Okay, first of all, it's blue, so you know it has to go with petrol. The Germans like to call it gasoline. That's always a little bit confusing in South Africa. So petrol will have the blue cap. So the fuel injection cleaner I would use if I have a commercial vehicle with a maximum fuel tank of 50 liters.
Yes.
Correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so for how many liters is the fuel, the petrol Bakkie additive?
Yeah, so as I mentioned now, it covers 115 liters. So that is generally for your Bakkies. A lot of guys like having a Bakkie with an extended range fuel tank. So when they travel cross-border, they don't have to worry about sourcing fuel. So this is especially developed for the extended range fuel tanks and cover up to 150 liters of fuel.
Okay, so if I have a tank that's more than 50 liters, I would rather use the Bakkie additive. So that's being said. Also, if I have a Gelandewagen, if I have a Fortuner, if I have any kind of SUV, Hilux, that's a Bakkie store.
Yes, it's a Bakkie.
So any bigger range of vehicle that's more bulky, bigger tank would be fine to use that. Even though it doesn't say Bakkie and SUV additive, it is for everything bigger than a normal commercial car. So when it's the size of a Bakkie, then the Bakkie additive is the right one to use, because now you don't have to put two cans of fuel injection cleaner in. You can only put one in with all those added benefits to protect the tank.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so if we go then directly to the diesel side, on the diesel side, we have very, very popular our super diesel additive, as I mentioned. So this can is enough for 50 liters once again, added to your diesel tank. So that's why you have the red funnel. So add it to your diesel fuel, it helps you to increase the cetane of the diesel. So the same as with the octane of the fuel, it improves the quality of the diesel. So you have better performance, better fuel consumption, all those beneficial advantages. And at the same time protects your fueling system and prevents it against rust and a whole lot of other items. So we normally clean our car on the outside. And we think we don't need to use anything to clean it on the inside, but there's a continuous deposits that are being created that needs to be cleaned off to be able to make sure that your car can perform to its optimum performance and also fuel consumption. So once again, if you have a vehicle that is bigger than a 50 litre, now we get to the Bucky, the SUVs, all the bigger vehicles, you would now use the Bakkie diesel additive. So the Bakkie additive, once again, the diesel side, also enough for 115 litres of diesel. And as we mentioned, increase the cetane number and all those other benefits as what the super diesel additive has. But now with a big tank, you don't have to worry about adding two cans because of the volume of the fuel. You can just add the 1 can. Okay, so the easiest way, the bigger the vehicle, if it goes over 50 litres, we would recommend that you rather use, if it's a petrol Bucky or an SUV or a bigger vehicle, we would recommend that you use the petrol Bakkie additive. And if it's a diesel vehicle bigger, with a fuel tank bigger than 50 litres, that you use the Bakkie diesel additive.
Yeah, so one of the key benefits that we ask a lot about this Bakkie diesel system is what are the benefits for me as a consumer? And I know we have this and we previously showed this, Mel. So I know you said you want to review this.
I do. So okay, let me just sit.
Yeah.
Stand. Okay, wait, sit. So the amazing thing is, we think that by just normally washing our cars on the outside and having it serviced on a regular way, that is enough for the tank. Enough to take care of the fueling system. But if you really take notice, you'll see as you keep on driving, the fuel consumption starts slowly to pick up and the performance of the vehicle starts to slowly go down. You see there's a little bit more smoke. When you start the engine, it sounds a little bit more rough. All of those are those alarm little notes and factors that actually shows you that your fueling system is getting dirty. So if you just pay attention to that, it can help you to be able to make sure that you can identify that your fueling system is dirty. Add this, and you'll have all the extra benefits. So one of the biggest benefits for me is the money saving. Mm-hmm. So we're going to touch on that just now, but not just that. It also protects your fuel tank. So you don't see that on a regular basis. So let's say you have gone for a little bit of an off-road into Botswana, Mozambique, any place where maybe the fuel condition is not so great, or maybe some of the outlying fuel stations where you have to fill up and the fuel is not such a great condition, or the temperature ranges have been so massive and maybe your fuel tank has had a little bit of an opening, or the fuel cap wasn't placed on and condensation happens and water goes into the tank. What will happen is it will start to rust. Mm-hmm. But also, as soon as water, and I just want to bring that closer so Richard can tell me if you can see what's going on. Can you see that there's a nice pool of bacteria at the bottom between the water and the diesel? You see that? So that is what, as soon as the water and the diesel gets in contact with each other, it creates a really nice breeding ground for bacteria. Yes. And that goes and destroys as much as what it possibly can, creates rust, creates other things that's going to affect your injector system. So the additives, the Bakkie, the fuel additives are actually going to prevent that, and it's going to protect it against that, protect it against rust. And one of the other things as well, what we've done is we've just taken two same particles that you would have with a fueling system, added them into fuel, and one added our additives, the other one we've just left in the fuel, and it stood for quite some time. So here's again, there's the little particles. I don't know if Richard can see that.
Metal particles, yes.
You see that? Can you see it? I can also bring it maybe closer there. Maybe we'll bring it in that way. Can it be seen? Okay, I'm following directions. Can anybody see? Okay, so they're clear. The most important part, there's little particles there, and you can't see any rust. Now here is the little bottle with exactly the same particles, but look at the rust. Can you see that? This is the rust contamination, just because of those particles just lying in fuel for quite some time. All right, so protects it. What is the other advantages of the additives for your Bakkie, especially?
Yeah, Mel, so we covered the octane side. So this diesel actually contains cetane. So cetane is just the agent inside, is an indication of your ignition timing. So ignition timing is especially important with diesel vehicles because that is purely compression based. So if there's a delay in ignition timing, it will be affecting performance and your drivability of the vehicle itself. So this increases your cetane, and such a wonderful product to assist, especially like I mentioned, if you travel And you're not always sure on the quality of the diesel that you actually get.
Okay, so let's just bring all those advantages of the additive together. So you can't see what's happening on your injectors, you can't see it on the fuel in your tank itself. We see the outside, that's why we wash it regular, we clean our mags, because it's visually, we can see that. So all we want you to do is just notice if the performance is starting to go down, and also if the fuel consumption is starting to go up. And also be aware if you're going to different areas where the fuel quality might not be so great. So for an example, if you're talking about the knocking, if you have a fuel with a very low octane, or you have a fuel with a very low cetane, those are all things that are going to affect your Bakkie in your vehicle. So now you want to make sure that you have that. So if you have a prediction or you're not sure about the fuel quality, now you know you can add, if you're with your diesel Bakkie, you know you can add the diesel Bakkie additive into your fuel tank while they fill up, and you can make sure that your tank is protected. If anything in that fuel is not the quality it's supposed to be, so it's going to protect your fuel system. It's going to clean your fuel system while you drive. That's why you're going to have a better fuel consumption, because the spray and the combustion and the performance of the vehicle is at its optimum. And you're going to also have lower fuel consumption, better performance, and also bring down the CO2 in your emissions.
Yeah, so just an indication of what makes this range quite unique, especially the other range as well, is these products it doesn't contain any metal additives. So generally in additives they use manganese, and these are non-manganese containing additives, as well as the phosphorus content. So the phosphorus content is quite important when it comes to the catalyst converters. So these have been proven to not damage any catalyst converters, so it is DPF compatible as well, especially with the diesel.
Okay, and your common rail, I know a lot of the new Bakkies have common rail systems. It's very sensitive to quality of fuel. So I know it's also been tested for your common rail system, making sure that you don't have that huge excess of deposits that actually clog the system. Because, I mean, I think overall on a Bakkie, and if you look at a Bakkie and an SUV, you've got a bigger tire span. I mean, they've got wide tackies on them. And it's a much heavier vehicle. So just by that as well, the amount of resistance you have on the road, the amount of resistance you have in the wind, all of those actually make the vehicle work a bit harder, have a higher fuel consumption, and quicker actually gets contaminated on the inside. Now I know if you do a 4x4 and you're going to a 4x4, you're not going to go at 220 kilometers an hour. You're going to be climbing, and it's going to be a high amount of revs to be able to get over the obstacles. So all of these kind of things are also a different way of driving, and making sure that you clean that fueling system will make sure that you also have the optimum opportunity, that when you use your Bakkie, that it comes with its full performance and it can climb and drive over everything you want to.
Perfect. So as Mel mentioned, that in a combustion chamber, I'm quickly going to review this one. In a combustion chamber, the flame point on the oxygen side is quite important, but deposit protection inside, so there's no particulate matter that actually develops from this. So it really helps with the DPF, having no issues with that. But also your NOx emissions and CO2 emissions is reduced. So that is a big aspect when it comes to fuel additives and how we can help to contribute towards global warming.
Because for all the engineers and the mechanics watching, that was a lingo especially for you. For me, it is important that I know by adding it, it is cleaning my fueling system from the inside. And that's why we have the slogan on the new Bakkie range, taking care of what's taking care of you. So the last one in a Bakkie series is our Liqui Moly Bakkie oil additive. So once again, the nice bulky can, because it's a nice bulky Bakkie or SUV or a bigger vehicle. So we have our very famous oil additive, which made us famous with the molybdenum, the friction modifier, or MOS2 additive. And this can you add to your 5 liter of oil, and it has a percentage of 2% MOS2 in the mixing ratio with your oil. So different in the oil additive side. Shally, can you cover what makes it different to our normal oil additive that's for your commercial vehicles?
Cool, Mel. So as we know, Bakkies are upsized, so this is exactly the reason why we did this. So concentration is much higher in this. So this can cover up to 7 liters of motor oil, and it has a MOS2 concentration of 5%. So having a voltage over 2%. So this is a friction modifier. We already covered in a previous show what MOS2 molecules do, and how actually Liqui Moly was developed from that. So it's quite an amazing product, but have a look at this because it's really going to add value to your Bakkie, and to ensure that not only performance increase, but also even if it's a few percentage, like 1 or 2% of fuel efficiency, this can really help with the drivability of the Bakkie itself.
Okay, so I know in one of our previous shows we've covered the additives and we've gone through friction modifiers. So just for those of you that don't exactly know what that means, so MOS2 is a friction modifier. And the way I explain it normally for people to understand is with the cardboard box down the mountain. I say this to everyone because visually you'll understand that if you want to go and slide down the mountain on your backside, you'll have either very little of your pants left, a hot backside, and a couple of scars if there were rocks and things in between. So that's just your normal movement down the mountain. But if you add a cardboard box underneath you between yourself and the mountain, you'll be able to really slide down and go down quite quickly. So that cardboard box in this scenario is a friction modifier because it takes away the friction between you and the mountain. So it's exactly the same as what the MOS2 oil additive is. You add it to the oil, and I know you're going to say, yeah, but isn't oil supposed to prevent friction? It does, but it still has a viscosity, so it still has a thickness. So there's still a movement that is going to create friction in a much smaller percentage.
Microscopic way, yes.
So now by adding the MOS2 additive, you actually take that additional friction away. It's much smoother. Is that cardboard box in between yourself and the mountain. So the advantage of that is as soon as and you can think of yourself now sitting on that cardboard box. Now you're not going to feel the heat. So the engine as well will run cooler. You'll have less friction. And if there's less friction and it's cooler, that means that you extend the engine life. But also if the engine runs cooler, the fuel consumption improves. So all of these things, it has a snowball effect. So the important part is take care of your engine because you want to make sure that that can last as long as possible and can work without any obstacles or any additional friction that's not necessary, and clean your fueling system so that you can make sure that the right amount of octane so that you don't have knocking, the right amount of cetane so that the engine can work and perform at its best.
So I know there's a lot of guys that's visual, so just explain what Mel said now, is that this is summer, spring now, so we're all going to the water parks, we're going to have some fun. Generally, Mel likes going down a slide, but now we have water to prevent her resistance, and that water is a lubrication, as she mentioned. Think of this as the soap being added to lubrication to additionally enhance the speed you go down with. So metal-to-metal contact really reduced, and micro-welding on this product, so it's really, really amazing to give all those benefits.
Awesome. So whichever way then you look at it, from a slide to a mountain, whatever, I think that makes it a little bit easier to understand. So these products, if we look at what a Bakkie goes through, it's a different terrain that it wants to be used to. I mean, you're not going to take a commercial car and drive over the pavement and go on a 4x4 trail and put everything on the back and everybody is be adventurous. It's a totally different style of vehicle. And it's important that you take care of it. And these are the products then to do that, to be able to make sure that your Bakkie, your SUV, your bigger vehicle is going to last as long as possible. Yeah,
perfect. So I know we launched this products on Monday, Mel, and there's a wonderful promotion that goes with us. So I know you want to quickly elaborate on that.
I like promotions and I like giving away stuff. So we have our Liqui Moly Advantage app where you can find the oil guide, all the products, information about the products, the technical data sheets if you're not sure where to use it, how to use it. So all of that is covered. So very, very easy. Once again, our products have barcodes. So if you have the Liqui Moly Advantage app, you can just scan the barcode. It's going to go directly to the video. It's also going to go to the technical data sheet and the pricing. But also at the same time, every single person, the first 1,000 people that purchase Liqui Moly Bakkie Additives and scan their receipts will get an additional 1,000 points per additive. So if I buy 3 additives and I scan my receipt, I'm going to get my normal points for the additives on the Advantage app, my rewards, but I'll also get an additional 3,000 points if I'm one of that first 1,000 purchases. So you can buy products in different places. If you're not sure, please let us know. Philio, I know as well, on the comment section, we'll load the landing page where you can have links to the different aspects of technical data sheets as well of the products. If you're not sure, please just send us a message. If there's anything technical you want to make sure of,
hello.
There we go. We have Shally and also Tim Bunny that was with us the previous episode, and they are there to help and make sure that you are supported, you are guided. If there's any question you have on these products, that you can let us know. The most important part, We have one of the strongest product liabilities in the world. We make sure that the quality that goes into these products are tested for your vehicle so that there's no problems. All we want to make sure is that you can have proper preventative maintenance, make sure that your engine lasts longer, your fuel consumption is at its optimal, you damage the environment as little as possible, and also that what you love is protected. So we know you love your Bakkies, so make sure that you take care of your Bakkie so it can take care of you.
Cool, thank you so much, Mel, and looking forward to the next Melly Shally.
There we go. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope you enjoy the Liqui Moly new Bakkie series. We are so excited. They're flying out of the warehouse. So enjoy, and thank you very much for watching.